welcome to our webinar, How to Choose the Right MBA for You. We have put your mic and your video on mute for easiness of the webinar. So my name is Aude and I'm the head of admission for the Global MBA at EDHEC Business School here in Nice. And I've worked for 6 years in the recruitment and admission department for both open programs and MBAs. And prior to that, I've been working in different fields, in different companies, from small to large companies. And I've been as well an entrepreneur in the insurance and food industry. So I do understand how big decision it is to embark in an MBA journey, to leave your work, to change country, to make a big investment, not only in your education, but as well in yourself. So this webinar is designed to help you make the decision and choose the right MBA for you. So I'm joined today by 3 alumni who have been where you are, who went through the same turmoil and finally made it. So you're going to have the opportunity to ask them a lot of questions at the end of the MBA presentation. But first and foremost, I will ask them to introduce themselves. So we'll begin with Gina. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Gina Miranda. I started the MBA September last year. I ended at the mid-2020. I'm from Colombia, and I am currently working from the Netherlands in Utrecht.
Thank you, Gina. Nico Tommaso.
Okay, I can go. So my name is Tommaso Pigato. As you can guess by my accent, I'm Italian. And I did my MBA in September 2018. I graduated in 2020. And so now I'm working from Bloomberg. I made a triple jump. So I moved the industry, country, and role. And I'm doing the AIM trade desk. That is like one of the financial products that Bloomberg offers. And I basically manage that area of the business.
Thank you, Tommaso. Nick, your turn.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Nick Huang. I'm from Taiwan. I went to Nice to study my MBA back in 2015 and I graduated in 2016. Then later I decided to stay in Europe. So that's how I found a job in the Netherlands. I'm currently working at Vodafone Ziggo as a commodity lead. Yeah.
Thank you. So this may seem obvious to you, but choosing the right MBA for you begins with a why. Why do you want to do an MBA? It's also a key question as part of the application process, and my team and I are asking you when you're applying to a global MBA. What we are looking for is clear answer. Nevertheless, you have to be as well open-minded, because oftentimes the journey exposes you to a lot of opportunities you would not have thought about. So Gina, why did you want to do an MBA? What were you doing before joining the EDHEC Global MBA?
So before I was working in Colombia, I have been working for last year, 5 years, sorry, in Colombia only in the financial sector. I worked first in financial advisory and then in private equity. So my main objective was to remain in the financial sector, but I wanted to change location. So I wanted to have the international experience. So the first step to do that was to study an MBA abroad. And that's why I decided to pursue an MBA in Europe. And the other reason was that I felt that all my, finance knowledge and all the technical skills were quite strong, but I needed to develop some additional, like management and soft skills. That's why I also decided to pursue an MBA instead of another, for instance, a master in finance or something like that.
Thank you, Gina. Nick, why did you want to do an MBA? What were you doing before?
It was actually a funny story because when I graduated and I joined Foxconn for 6 years and working in China, and during a period of time, I feel like I need to do something to promote myself to the next level. And then somehow MBA, these words was deep in my heart when I was a kid. I said, oh, that sounds really fancy. I want to do it. So that's how I decided, okay, let me do MBA. But then at the same time, I said, okay, but there's so many business schools. Where do you want to go? So I don't want to waste 2 years in US. That's why I didn't go to US. And I said, okay, Europe sounds nice. So eventually I went to EDHEC, and I said, okay, it's a very good experience.
Thank you, Nick. And Tommaso, you mentioned the triple jump. That's why you wanted to do an MBA?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I was working in the management of a family company in Italy. So the environment was not quite international, and I wanted to change it. I wanted to explore and like see new opportunities. So I decided to do the MBA because I was like already 27 years old. So I said maybe it's the best choice compared to a Master of Finance. And I saw that EDHEC was offering like the finance track, and it has a very high reputation for finance. So I decided to go for that choice, and also Nice was part of the equation, and it paid off eventually.
Thank you, Tommaso. Indeed, every applicant has a different story, a different goal, but broadly speaking, most of the candidates are looking either to make a career transformation, like Tommaso indicated, change country, change industry, change profession, sometimes all three. This is called a triple jump, like Tommaso explained, or they are looking to acquire a 360 global vision, as Gina was mentioning it as well, to get new perspective, as Nick insisted on, and as well to acquire new soft skills. Am I correct? Is that exactly what you wanted to achieve?
Yeah.
Then, based on your goal and also on your situation, before you start searching and comparing programs, I would suggest that you begin by drawing up a list of key criteria. It might be a long list to begin with, but then I would advise to refine this list and only to select 3 to 5 criteria which for you are not negotiable. Tommaso, what were your key criteria when choosing an MBA and when comparing school?
Okay, so I was looking for the reputation in the area of interest. So in this case, the reputation was very strong for finance. Mm-hmm. And I was also looking for I wanted it to be like as much international as possible. And EDHEC was offering like a very high diversity in the class. And also the position. So it was in France, not too far from from Italy, and very easy to reach. And also like being in Nice was amazing.
Thank you, Tommaso. Gina, you were mentioning you wanted an international experience. Is it one of your key criteria?
Yeah, so one of the reasons was that when you look at EDHEC, always the diversity was highlighted. That was one of the reasons I wanted to have, the international exposure and share with students from different nationalities. As a second point is the same one that Tommaso mentioned. I wanted to look for, after graduating, for a job in finance. So I wanted a university who wasn't strong on that point. So recognition in finance would be the second point. And for me, the third one would be the return on investment. So I wanted a good ranked university, but I also wanted not some universities not that expensive, for instance, at the States or some universities in London. So that was also an important criteria for me.
Thank you, Gina. And what about you, Nick? What were your key criteria?
I think it's pretty much the same. When I was starting to searching for the MBA programs, the first thing I come up with my mind is the ranking. Mm-hmm. Because I think if you go to a really normal business school, and then later you will not find a better job. You cannot really promote yourself, because when you got a diploma with a nice name on it, it will open many different doors for you. So that's actually one of the most important criteria for me. And also the location. As I mentioned earlier, I don't want to go to US. So that's why I only searching the business school in the Europe. And then also the language part, I was thinking that maybe I can learn French.
And did you?
No. The program is too intense. You cannot have a chance to learn French. But if you can, yeah, you can try. But then that's my experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. So as mentioned by Nick, Gina, and Tommaso, here are some common criteria which can help you to narrow down your search. There are thousands of MBA out there, so it's important to narrow down your search based on what is important for you. Duration can be a good place to start if you have some years of experience, and if you don't want to be out of the marketplace, the job market for too long, well, maybe it's good to choose a short MBA. And generally speaking, it's what people are choosing EDHEC as well, because we have a 10-month program, which helps as well on the ROI, as Gina was mentioning. And in addition, you have the location, the rankings and accreditation as well. So not only are rankings important, but also accreditation, because if you look at all the MBAs worldwide, only 1% are triple accredited. So in addition, you also need to be realistic about fees and scholarship. What is your budget? This clearly links to our ROI too. So then do your research. So Tommaso, how did you develop your shortlist? Where did you look at?
So I started basically having conversations with several business schools. Then I met in Milan with Lucas Malchi, one of the responsible of the admissions, and he explained me like what is the EDHEC culture, what I should have expected. So I've started basically to assess costs and benefits, and I thought that EDHEC was one of the best one, especially because of the scholarship that was very interesting. So I assessed all these kind of criteria and I came up with the list.
Nick, how many schools did you shortlist, and how did you develop your shortlist actually?
Yeah, so for me, it's very easy, because the first thing I really want to focus is on the rankings. I don't want to go to the business school. So eventually I come down around 5 different schools, and then I look it up from other students' review to see how they feel about the program after they graduated. And then also the tuition fee, that's also very important, because I also was dreaming, oh, maybe I want to go to London. But then if you come up everything together, and I was like, no. So yeah, that's exactly why eventually I choose EDHEC. And then also I got the scholarship. So yeah, so that combines everything that makes my choice very easy. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. And what about you, Gina?
Yeah, I guess it's what the guy said. Yeah, first I think it's to decide where you want to go. So I also didn't want to go to the States, so I say let's go to Europe. I didn't consider Spain, as I'm a Spanish speaker. I also wanted to learn some French. I did learn a little bit, not as much as I would want to, but then I had friends in London, and from there I started to look at the rankings and to compare program, compare locations, and compare tuition as well, and started to look at the benefits, pros and cons from each university.
Thank you. So if you are using ranking as Nick as a source to draw up a shortlist, look at different ones like FT, The Economist, QS rankings as well. And they all use different methods, so it's good to check a few. There are also dedicated websites which can help you to identify potential programs and offer selection criteria as well. Now, get into the details. So now you have your shortlist. It's time to drill down into each school and program to see if you and your shortlisted program are a good mutual fit. I say mutual because here at EDHEC, for example, we keep our class size limited to around 60 to 70 students per intake, which means we carefully review every application and ensure that EDHEC is the right school for you, and vice versa, of course. So, how do you go into details? As Tommaso was saying, you can meet with admission manager during fairs. Brochures and website will give you a good deal of practical information as well. But actually speaking with the admission team, you will get a good feel for the culture, and you also will get personalized advice, which is always helpful. And we would recommend as well to connect with students and alumni, which are actually part of the application process now. So you can ask them any question you would like, and to find out more about what they felt about the program and what did they learn, what did they enjoy most. In addition, you can as well go into virtual visit, like we had one last weekend where we had a virtual open day, which helps you to have a feel and to be able to meet people you wouldn't be able to meet, like program directors, heads of careers as well. Or you can have as well campus visits when it's possible, and attend classes. It's a good way as well to feel the culture, to understand the value of the program. And then it's decision time. So if you apply to several schools and you receive offers, so first of all, congratulations. So now you need to decide, and this is where the earliest step is going to help you in your final decision, because look at your objective and your non-negotiable criteria and careful review each program, adding in the feedback and feel you have had from research and your contact with students or alumni. So I'm going to ask the question to Nick for this time. So how did you make your final decision, Nick?
Well, I was actually a little bit close not to join EDHEC because I also accepted by the other school. And then my recruiter, Nikki, actually just talked to me and said, okay, I understand you have other opportunities, but what about this, and this? And then maybe you can check other things that you didn't find out on the web, on the internet. So eventually I changed my mind and then go to EDHEC, which I think that's the best decision ever in my life.
Good. Yes, you think it was the right choice for you, the right fit? Yes. And what about you, Tommaso? How did you make your decision to come to EDHEC?
So in my case, it was, I mean, quite straightforward because I was very sure that I wanted to go to EDHEC. And as I already spoke with some alumni before, and they were all satisfied. So in my case, I basically spoke with people just to try to understand if it was the right choice for me or not. And I decided to go for it in the end.
Good, Tommaso. And Gina?
For me, it was really straightforward as well. I was pretty excited with EDHEC, and I had also the chance to speak to an alumni from Colombia as well. And at the end, also the admission team was very helpful compared to other universities where the admission team was not as, answering to all of my questions and all of that. So as you said, you get a little bit of a sense of the culture of EDHEC speaking with the admission team. And at the end, I was sure that I wanted to join EDHEC.
Oh, it's nice to hear. Thank you for the team. So now it's question time. So you have the chance to be able to speak and ask as many questions as you want to Nick, Gina, and Tommaso. So please use your chat box, and we're going to be able to answer your question. So hopefully they will be coming in shortly. I have one coming up for you all. So was the personal touch with the admission manager decisive in your decision to attend EDHEC?
Yeah, definitely, because it really helps to have someone that provides you some guidance. And especially Lucas was very nice in that we had a talk like 1 hour long in Milan. So he was very helpful in that respect. But I also think it's very important to talk with like former with like alumni, because you can also have like the student perspective basically.
Thank you. I have another question. So what did you love the most in the program?
I think the diversity is really nice, and then you got the chance to choose different track, and then it's really customized for your own needs and demands and what you're looking for. So that's the thing I really like about this program.
Different answers, maybe Gina or Tommaso? Yeah.
Yeah, I will also say that in addition to the tracks that is very customized, the South Africa trip, I don't know, you get this experience in all MBA programs. This was one of my main takeaways of the MBA. Really good trip.
Yeah, I agree that the tracks are very, very nice, and also the trips, because, for example, it was the finance track that allowed me to discover Bloomberg, because we visited the office. So it was really helpful also in that respect. And the South Africa trip was also amazing because we saw an entirely different way of living and like investing and working. So it was really, really amazing.
Thank you. I have another question for Gina this time. So Gina, you mentioned that you got a sense of EDHEC culture through the admission team. How would you define EDHEC's culture?
I will say that given that in the program it's only around 80 people, 70 people max, it is very personalized. So everybody in the management, in the team knows you. So it's very, personalized, and you have the opportunity to talk with professors, with different coach, with MBA directors. So I think it's they really know you. I think that I really like that.
So I think I've lost the question box. So there was another question, I think, about the coaching. What did you think about the coaching, the career coaching that was made throughout your year at EDHEC?
I think that it was definitely useful, but it's like, and this is also a common opinion with like the students and also students from other MBAs, that you really have to involve yourself into. I mean, you need to be like proactive, and in that sense, you will receive the highest help. I mean, for example, the coach can always help you to prepare for the interviews, for example, but ultimately you need to have like a clear goal in your mind, and you need at least like towards the end of the MBA, and you also need to proactively continue to try to find new opportunities, also like networking with the other guys.
Thank you, Tommaso. Anything to add, Nick or Gina?
I totally agree with Tommaso. It's really about your personal goals. You have to set the really clear goals ever you just join MBA. I know it sounds a little bit crazy if you're just starting the MBA or really looking for your next step. But the truth is the time is really short. Actually, only 10 months. And then you have to know where exactly where you want to go. But then it's very difficult for us actually at the beginning. So later, that's why the coaching is really for then helping you trying to explore what exactly you could do or you could not do. For me, it's the same because I'm changing the geography. I'm moving from Asia to Europe. And then you have to learn the reality is if you can really find the different industry in the different kind of roles and then in the different countries, that's something you need to put into consideration. And the coach will actually helping you to explore all opportunities.
Good. And are you still in contact with people from your cohort?
From my coworker, sorry?
Yes, are you still in contact with students who shared the experience of the global MBA with you?
Yes, of course. And we are linking on the LinkedIn, so we will still stay in touch for sure. Yes.
What would you give as an advice to a future student who would like to do an MBA? What is the best advice you could give?
That is difficult. I will let Tommaso answer that question.
Okay, no, my advice is just like, don't think it's like a sort of magic stick. I mean that like you do the MBA and then after that you are like the new Elon Musk, let's say. So be ready to take the most out of it. And so, I mean, the MBA will give you how much you put it's like sorry, I wanted to say it depends on the efforts that you put into it, what you take out of it, basically. So just try to network as much as you can. Try to also go like more in depth when you do like the courses, like aim for the best, not for just to be, let's say, average. And you will see that you will have real improvements if you also try to proactively find like new opportunities, because this is the best that the best advice I can give you, basically.
Oh, it's tough to live up to this advice, Gina. Maybe you have another one.
That was actually a really good advice. No, I say that Tommaso said all the important stuff, but I will say also too, just it's you are studying, but it's an MBA gap that you're taking time for yourself. I just, as Tommaso said, take the most out of it. Is going to be, if you decide to come to EDHEC, is going to be in Nice, which is the perfect location, I think, for a gap year. And just to take all the opportunities and try to take the most out of every situation.
Nick?
Yeah, I totally agree. Because everybody think that MBA may give you a lot of different opportunities or whatsoever, but it's all about your personal effort. If you don't put anything into that, you're just waiting there and then waiting for your diplomas there, and then you will get a job at Google or Apple. It doesn't work like that. So, but the other advice I would give you to students is, yes, the academy is very important. You need to taking care of your score, but also at the same time, have fun and then exploring, networking with alumni and also with your peers. That's also very important resources that you can use later, because you will never know who will help you to the next step. So yes, have fun, enjoy, and study.
Well, I think there's nothing else to add. So I'm sorry, the question box has been disappearing from my screen during the webinar, but don't hesitate to reach out to us and send all our questions, and we will pass them on to Nick, Gina, and Tommaso. And as a final word, I will say thank you for being there with us, for being so positive about the EDHEC Global MBA. You can still join us on our website. So it's www.edhec.edu. And if you wish, you can still access a virtual platform where we had our open day last weekend. So www.edhecvfairs.com, where you will have access to all the content. You will have access to videos as well. So thank you again for Nick, Gina, and Tommaso being there with us. And thank you for joining us. And we'll be very pleased to answer any question you might have. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.